Hey everyone, welcome back to Bourbon Battles. I'm Joe.
I'm Chad.
Hey, we got a neat one coming for you today. It's one of our Shooting the Shit series. What are we going to talk about
What do you got
today?
to cuss for?
That's what it's called. You can't ad-lib that. So today we're going to talk about, hey, sip it, don't flip it, and what that means.
Megan wants her cut.
We'll get it to you, Megan. We're all about the secondary market coming to you next. All right, here we go. We're going to talk to you about the secondary market today, what it means to flip whiskey on Facebook or liquor stores charging exorbitant amounts of money.
Can you spell that?
Money.
No.
Exorbitant?
Yeah.
No, I was I almost stopped midway through it because I didn't think I was going to pronounce it right, let alone spell it. So we're going to give you our 2 cents on it. What do you think of my shirt today for the flippers one? Horsies everywhere. So Chad's drinking that blind. We'll tell him at the end of the episode what he's got going on. Because it's your first drink today, bud.
Probably.
Yeah.
What do you think about this shirt, bud?
The other one came out where I'm wearing the video before this one.
Go Hoosiers. I think I called it back in October.
Probably the Big Ten champions, if I had to guess.
I don't think they're going to win the Big Ten. They might win the Big Ten tourney. They're not going to be the big producer. Already have co-title, all that.
Right. The tournament's what matters, though, right?
I mean, it all matters.
Whatever. Get banners. So everybody that's been collecting whiskey for a while knows you can't just go buy a bottle of this stuff, right?
Unless you're really lucky. It can be done, but you got to be in the right place, the right time. I mean, I have found cases of it before, but I've been really lucky, and I've been doing it. I've been looking for a while. I've been buying for a while.
So. Saturday morning, which was 2 days ago when we aired this, so it's already come and gone. Alex at Red Barrel put like 3 or 4 of them out, some Eagle Rare, some E.H. Taylor, just randomly on a Saturday morning.
And places will.
So it does happen. If you hunt for it long enough, you'll find one.
Yeah.
Or there's another way to do it. You can go on Facebook or, I suppose, Instagram or a million other places, right? And go find people that are selling.
I can't get on any of them anymore, so I don't worry about it.
I gave you the password.
It's wrong, and you know it.
So I just got on there today.
It's all right. I'll just get on there and delete everything.
So we're going to talk to you about how to do it and what you can do and what our thoughts are on people selling for extra. You know, we'll get into some of these prices. First of all, do you think it's okay to pay over retail for certain whiskeys?
Yeah, I think so.
Money means different.
Well, and who am I to tell somebody that they can't pay $400 for a bottle of brands?
Right.
I am not that person. What gets my crawl more is liquor stores that charge $400 for a bottle of brands. That's where my aggravation comes from. It doesn't come from you selling whiskey at a high price or Joe Schmo selling it at a high price or Jimmy John buying it at a high price. It comes from the liquor store selling it at a high price. That's where I get aggravated.
Yeah, call it price gouging. You can call it a million different things, right?
And at the same time, you can't really, you can get mad at that when they're in business to make a profit. I get it. 100%, I get it.
And they're selling it or they wouldn't do it.
Correct.
So it is what it is. So like me personally, like this is a great example. We'll talk about this many times in this episode. This is very hard to get when you're starting out collecting bourbon. That's you might want to pay an extra $25 or $30 for it just to get your hands on it and see what it's all about. It might be the only way you can get it. I don't have a problem with that. I don't like it. I don't want to do it, but I don't have a problem.
I got my first bottle of Blanton's for Christmas like 6 years ago, and I had no idea that I was getting it. And my wife bought it for me. She bought it at retail. It just happened to be there, and it happened to be on the shelf. And that was before really things got stupid like they are now.
And you were excited to get it.
I was.
Yeah, I mean, if you don't have one of these, I say this is one of the most critical bottles you could have in your collection, right? For different reasons for me than you watching this, but I love to have it just to blind it against other things. And
yeah, that's a good reason to have it.
And so many people come over to the house and they see the whiskey, right? And they're like, I've never had Blanton's. I really want. Okay, let's try it.
Mm-hmm.
And say, oh, okay, that's amazing, or that's not as good as I thought. And then I'll try to get them to drink something else with it and just kind of show them different things. It's a lot of fun.
I think that's another thing that needs to be stated is that, you know, when you have small collections, large collections, any number of collections, and people, you have acquaintances, friends, people that come by and they're interested in whiskey, and you've got something they'd like to try. Let them try it. I mean, that's what are you going to do? You're going to keep a duster down wherever you keep it and dust it off and keep it. You know, I mean, shelf queens are shelf queens, but at some point you got to drink it or get rid of it.
We both like you. We both like having things that are very hard to find.
Yeah, of course.
Yeah,
who doesn't?
Exactly. But like I can tell you, and we'll get to this again, but like this dude right here, I got that at the distillery one day. We opened it up on the sidewalk and took a drink out of the bottle.
Right.
That's what it's for. And you've been into it. There's probably been a dozen people that have tasted that in some capacity here. And that's what's so cool about having that bottle. We'll get into what I paid for it here in a little bit. So, George T. Stagg, I'd pay extra for that. I'd pay double. I'd pay double what it costs.
But it also is one of my most favorite whiskeys that I've ever had, at least the vintages that I've had.
Yeah.
So.
My guess is that like a Pappy Van Winkle 15-year, right, at retails for somewhere in the neighborhood of $140, right?
Yeah.
If you saw it for double retail, even if you've had it and you think it's okay, you'd probably get it because it'd be nice to have in your collection.
Yeah, that way I could let other people taste it so they wouldn't spend $500 or $600 on a bottle.
And we're collectors, so that's if you have 10 or 12 bottles, then you can learn a lot off this. If you have 50 bottles, you could learn some. If you have 500 or 600 bottles, then you're probably going to do what you're going to do, and for the reasons that you do it. And everybody, like I said, money means something different to everybody, and I'm not going to begrudge anybody for doing what they want with their money.
Right.
But I'll give you my 2 cents. So,
is that what you're doing with your money?
Whatever I want to do with it?
No, giving out your 2 cents. That's all you got, isn't it?
Pretty much. So we just discussed that there's a difference between a liquor store secondary pricing and an individual doing secondary pricing. And I'll even say with different expressions, different things make a difference to me, right? If a guy's got a birthday bourbon and he wants to charge triple retail, right, because he worked really hard to get it, whatever he did, that's one thing. But triple retail for a Blanton's is another category because that's a semi-obtainable thing. See where I'm going with that?
Yeah, I mean, I think in relative terms of what the stuff goes for on secondary, triple retail for a bottle of birthday bourbon isn't out of the ordinary. I mean, it's not. You're not asking. It's not exorbitant. I mean, I can think of 10 liquor stores that I could drive to in an hour, and if they've got birthday bourbon, they're asking 10 times retail or more.
Yeah.
So
I'm in Florida a lot, and what's interesting about at least where I'm at in Florida, in the Sarasota area, every liquor store has everything, right? We've had that conversation. I mean, all the B-Tax, all the Pappy, they have them all. Now they want a crazy amount of money, and
what is that?
That's good, bud. It's good drinking. Yeah, you need a warmer up.
Something.
Some screwball.
Something.
You can't get extra for that. So, and I talked to these liquor store owners, and it's in a resort area, right? And I'm like, well, I got to know this one particular gentleman, and so I asked him about it. He's like, hey, I sell them.
Yeah.
I mean, we sell them for that eventually. I don't care how long they sit because I'm going to sell it to somebody going on vacation.
Yep.
See the same kind of thing a lot in casino areas.
Vegas.
Yeah.
Reno.
Yeah.
Yep.
So, look, am I mad at him? I don't like what he's doing. I'd like to be able to go in there and buy stuff at retail, but I'm not going to get mad at him. He's going to run his business the way he wants to run it. At the end of the day, we as a bourbon community are responsible for fueling the fire.
Well, and one thing that everybody needs to realize too, including the store owners, is that eventually the bottom is just going to be like walking off a cliff, and it's all going to be over. Like overnight, it's not going to be gradual. I don't think. I think overnight it's going to be over. And it might be 5 years, it might be 50 years, it might be 5 weeks. You don't know.
It will come eventually, right? History will always repeat itself. So that's when you and I can go in and buy a birthday bourbon from those guys for $150. Yeah,
because the pricing will come down.
Not the retail part. So then kind of what we've been alluding to here is we believe there's a difference between slightly over retail and way over retail.
I do.
Two totally different things. So what I did, I spent the day going to some Facebook pages and finding some allocated whiskeys that people are selling on the secondary market and what they're selling it for. And then I used the Ohio Liquor Group's website to come up with retail, because you can search everything. And so the retail prices we talk about are all the standard for Ohio, which is
I think you could go to any state-controlled liquor website.
They would be the same.
They're going to be roughly the same. I mean, like we'll talk about it. I mean, there's one in particular that was significantly cheaper when I went out east. But,
Yeah.
it's random.
I mean, you go to different stores, and that retail price is going to fluctuate based on their individual profit margins they operate. Just because something's, a $50 bottle that this guy wants $56 for, I don't really consider that price gouging. That's just how their system is set up.
Right.
So first one we come to is Weller Special Reserve. This is now we're talking about things that we don't think are crazy overpriced. This particular one was going for $50 on a secondary page, which sounds crazy. It retails for $23.99.
I cannot stress enough that it is a bottom shelf whiskey. I don't know why people don't get it.
Yeah, for an extra $25, is that crazy?
Not if you want one.
If you never had one, probably not. Is it crazy for me or you?
Yeah.
Yeah, we've had it. Don't need it.
But the thing about it is too, there's not like they're running short supply on that. I mean, every place that carries Weller regularly has Weller Special.
Oh
Reserve.
yeah, and I think I got
and it really doesn't come to Indiana for whatever reason. But I mean, if you go south, if you go east of here, it's everywhere.
First time I ever saw it on the shelf was in Atlanta, Georgia. We'd stopped to get gas. There's a liquor store next door. Weller Special Reserve. It's probably this exact same bottle for $30. Now that's over normal retail, but not crazy.
Can you get it here?
I bought it because I never had it.
Right.
I never had one.
Right.
So I didn't mind to pay the extra $7.
We got mesmerized by the horsies.
Like that's why I got this shirt. So the next one we're talking about is VH Taylor. This is a single barrel. Chad's got it over there. It comes in a sock that you keep or tube that you keep your socks in.
Is this a single barrel or small batch?
That's just a small batch. You see this all over the place for $75.
Well, you don't see it in Indiana anymore at all.
You see it everywhere on secondary sites.
I personally am not a fan at all.
I really like the single barrel.
I do too. I do too.
But not the small batch.
I don't like small batch.
So this bad boy is supposed to be $45.99, selling regularly on secondary pages for $75. If you got to have one and you're a collector, an extra $30, I think that's okay.
If you got to have one, yeah.
I'm
not mad at a person for having to have one.
You go to a bar and spend $15 on a pour of it, or just pay the $30 and have a bottle.
I think that's the number one. I think that's the number one secret that we should mention. We will mention it at the end, but I think it's the best secret out there. I mean, you save yourself a lot of headache and a lot of heartache and a lot of gas money.
As you develop into this, and let's just talk about now, like our Patreon community.
Mm-hmm.
If you're in our Patreon community, there's samples that get floated around. I'm sure somebody would let you try this if you never had it. Just hey, they keep talking about this. I'm just dying to have one. These guys want $150.
It gets better the longer you let it set.
It's delicious, bud. I
don't know if I go as far as say it's delicious.
Oh, I love it. So think about that too. Think about these whiskey communities, right? And
I mean, yeah, that is. I mean, if you become a part of a group or a community or a club or whatever, there are enough people in most of those where if there's something you're just dying to get,
you get a taste.
Somebody's probably got enough. They'll give you a taste. If not, be able to put you on to where to get a bottle.
Yeah, and if you're unsure what I'm talking about on our Patreon community, send us an email at bourbonbattlesblind@gmail.com. I'll be happy to explain that to you. And while we're looking at that, you can go to our website, bourbonbattlesblind.com, and find links to all of our social media, including Patreon. So if you're interested in signing up for that, let us know. Next one, and we're going to try to get through these a little quicker. Elijah Craig Toasted Barrel. We got a bottle down here if you really want to see it. I sell it for $65, normally $54.99 when you figure tax.
I think 65 is a good buy.
It's almost a wash with tax. So that's great. They're out there for decent deals.
And that is one thing that is pretty plentiful, even where we're from. I mean, you can find it everywhere for $65 or less. So
yeah, Elijah Craig. I saw some of their barrel proof store picks for $80. For $90. They're supposed to be $80. Great deal. Hopefully,
it's definitely a better deal than their 3 expressions of barrel proof.
It's way higher proof. They taste better.
Well, it's not as old. And it doesn't cost nearly as much, but I think a lot of them drink better than the barrel proof.
Oh, there's some fantastic ones out there.
Yeah, I think Heaven Hill messed up when they did that.
Yeah,
when they raised the price of the barrel proof.
Bookers. Hopefully, you saw one of our last videos where we rated all the Bookers from 2022. Regular seed Bookers for $120, retails for $99.99, which I didn't think it was that much.
It's not. It depends where you're at.
But in Ohio,
that's what I was going to say when I was out in Connecticut. it was like $68 a bottle.
That's pretty good.
Yeah.
If you can find it for $68 a bottle, definitely get it. If you can find it for $99, it's worth it if you don't have any bookers.
Some of them. We just tasted all 4 of them, and there was 2 of them that I was just like, I wouldn't.
They're not worth $100.
I don't think so.
But
there are 2 that are very well worth $100.
But next, when they start coming out this year, you'll buy them all to figure it out.
This weekend.
Tonight.
This weekend.
Oh, it's the first release.
Yeah, it's out, and I know where I can get it. So away we go.
Away we go. Maker's Mark Private Selects. You see those regularly on the secondary pages for $75.
I don't know why anybody would want one of those.
You just want people to not know about it. By the way, that's what you're drinking.
Is it?
This one right here from S&V in Fort Wayne. It's good drinking, bud.
It's hot.
You know, I see the Penelope Architects for reasonable. So here's some examples of way over retail. We don't need to beat a dead horse, but Stag Junior for $300.
It's not worth it.
Chuck, you know, it's supposed to be $49.99.
Did Chuck have? Oh yeah, yeah. Some people have retail establishments that they try to sell bottles for $250 at retail.
Everywhere.
Yep.
I don't like it.
It's not very good. It's not a cool thing to do.
No. Four Roses single barrel. You see it going from between 125 and 180. I don't think 125 is crazy if you love that particular expression.
Yeah, I don't think 125 is crazy. I think 180 is crazy. I mean, you can get them at the distillery for $80.
Yeah, and we'll talk.
And they've got different expressions every other day.
Yeah.
So
Taylor Barrel Proof going for $600 instead of $69.99.
It's not worth it.
Blanton's going from 100 to 125 instead of $64.99. We kind of talked about that, depending on where you're at with it. Antique 107 goes for $100 all day long.
It's worth it.
And it's
I think it's worth it.
That is
I think it's worth it.
That's the one thing on this list that if I run out, you got to hold that bottle up. I think it's over there. If me and Chad kill that today, and I got to spend $100 on one, I'm getting one. It's a way underpriced whiskey, in my opinion.
It's still bottom shelf, but yes, it's worth it. I mean, it's far better than a lot of other whiskeys that are not bottom shelf that cost a lot more. I mean, and it tastes so much different than the Special Reserve and or the 12-year and or the Full Proof
or the Rip Van Winkle.
I mean, yeah, it just tastes so much different than all of them. I just think if I had to pick one Weller that I could ever drink for the rest of my life, it would be the 107.
It's one of my favorite whiskeys there ever was. We'll go through all these different Wellers real quick, but Weller has the single barrel full proof 12-year CYPB. Crazy.
I've never had any of them other than the 12-year and the full proof. I've never had the single barrel or the CYPB.
We've had both of those on the show, I think, or at least one.
We haven't had them both. We did the full proof against the Maker's Mark Cask Strength, and we did the 12-year against. I think we did it against the Evan Williams 12-year. I think
that sounds right. So the Antique 107, single barrel, full proof, and CYPB
they all retail for less than $50. That's what they all retail for.
Yeah.
Every one of them, and it's bottom shelf.
Single barrel's going for $700. CYPB for $650. I've not had it, so I don't know.
I've not had it either.
But
I would love to try it, and I would love to buy a bottle for $50. But good luck.
12-year going for $850 right now on secondary markets. William LaRue Weller. $1,000.
It's not worth it.
$99.
It's not worth it.
No,
I've had it. It's not worth it.
George T. Stagg going for $1,000 instead of $99.99. It's worth more than $99.99.
It is,
but
it's not worth $1,000. Right.
Birthday bourbon's going for $800. You can find it right now. Should be $160 retail, $190 at the distillery. I've had it though, boys. It is not an $800 good bottle of whiskey.
No, I mean not when you can buy a single barrel for half of that, and it's better.
Half at retail.
Right.
And it's way better.
I don't know if I'd say way, but it's better.
Oh, I would say that.
I'm not even talking about a barrel proof. I'm just talking about the regular single barrels.
Oh, not the barrel. I was thinking barrel proof. So Elmer T. Lee's going for $275. Should be $41. On and on and on. Yeah, we'll bring this one up because it'll come back later. Yellowstone Limited, 160. I got those backwards. Going for $160 should be $119. On and on. Old Fitz decanters going for $900 instead of $200,
which is crazy. I mean, I can remember going to Heaven Hill back a couple years back, 3 years back, 4 years back, and being able to get decanters for $100.
Do you think it's worth $200?
I never had the 17. I can't answer that.
That's just the one I picked.
That 9-year, yeah.
It probably is.
You drink it like water.
I'd say if you have 5 or 6 bottles, I wouldn't make your next one an Old Fitz decanter for $200. But if you're a collector,
They're worth having one. It's worth having one of them. I mean, that's some of the best whiskey I've ever drank, ever.
Oh yeah, hold up that Evan Williams right there. So there's also different kinds of whiskey out there that you can only get at the distillery like this one. If you're not in the
You
Louisville
get it in
area,
Asia,
you can get it in Asia or Louisville.
right?
If you're not in the Louisville area,
You're not be able to get one very easy. If you do, you're going to pay $300-400 for it, and so be it. You know, somebody's breaking the law, but if you can pull it off, I mean, that's how a guy gets some limestone branch in the state of Wyoming when it's only supposed to be distillery only.
yeah. So I mean, that stuff is worth more than retail, in my opinion. But I'm a huge fan.
Yeah, that's one of your favorites.
Yeah, it's one. It just happens, and you like it. It's
Yeah,
it's $140. It's worth it. It's crazy. So the other thing is, would you pay extra for a really good store pick in another region that somebody you trust their palate?
If I could taste it beforehand, I would.
Yeah.
I mean, that's it. If I'm out and about gallivanting, and I can't spell it, so I shouldn't have said it. But if I'm traveling, and there's, let's say in particular, there's a maker's pick. If I can't taste it, I won't buy it. If I can taste it more times than not, I'll buy it.
But now, if I was, say, in Wyoming, and I taste a maker's pick, I didn't have to ask you. If I like it, you'll probably like it, and you want it.
Probably.
And we'll get
unless I have it.
Yeah, which you could. So, and we'll get into a little bit how you can use your friends in bourbon to expand on your collection.
Absolutely.
So here's some ideas from us of things you should be hunting instead of these unicorns. Store picks. I think store picks are just like this Silver Spring store pick from Red Barrel Liquors in Mooresville, Indiana, is $50. It's very, very good. I never even heard of it before I got this.
Let's be realistic about store picks too. They're more of a unicorn than a batch bottle.
Yeah.
Because once that barrel is gone, it is gone.
And find stores that let you taste it first.
Absolutely.
So that's the key. Find that stuff. Go to local distilleries. Like for us, Old 55, which I think you've got a bottle of it over there, if I'm not mistaken. There's one down here somewhere, maybe not. Oh, Old 55. This stuff, I mean, they got this 100% wheat corn mash bill, not in this particular expression.
Sweet corn or wheat corn?
Sweet corn. Sweet. That you can't get anywhere. It's the only bourbon made with 100% sweet corn because we're in Indiana, right? Go find that
Indiana,
stuff.
the only place they grow sweet corn?
It's worth having.
Fair enough. I'm not going to argue with it.
Yeah, I mean, it just is what it is. You can find places like Spirits of French Lick. These guys are really cool. They do all kinds of funky, cool stuff. West Fork Whiskey in Westfield, Indiana, for example. They're doing a lot of cool things with finishing different whiskeys. Leaper's Fork in Nashville, Tennessee. They're everywhere. Everybody's got local distilleries. Hard Truth for us, and we'll talk about that some more. Go seek out these smaller distilleries like Journeyman. I think we were both pleasantly surprised with the Journeyman lineup that they sent us. This stuff was great. This checks off 2 boxes, right? This is a store pick and from a small one. This is fantastic whiskey that, from up north in Fort Wayne. It's great. Starlight's doing all kinds of funky stuff everywhere.
They are.
And they distribute all over the place as far as I know.
They've expanded their distribution network quite a bit.
Nelson Brothers down in Nashville, Tennessee, starting to do a lot of cool finishing stuff.
And I think I think Peerless is still considered a small distillery.
Oh, absolutely.
Man, I'm telling you, some of the stuff they make is just like,
yeah,
this is legit. And then sometimes you're like, oh my God, I can't drink it. It's very hit and miss, but man, when their stuff is good, it is good.
Now, I don't know when the last time you were there is. It used to be you couldn't taste anything, depending on who was working. And
every time I've gone in there, they've let me taste it.
So they quit doing that for a long time, and now they're doing a thing for like $10.
Yeah, you can go in a room. We did it.
You go in that back room and taste like 3 things or whatever it is.
Yeah,
and that's a great way to do it.
It is.
Last time I did it, I tried something and I was like, I don't like that. So
the thing about it is their single barrels are expensive. So
it is expensive.
You got to make sure you like it, or you're just pissing your money.
And I don't see it outside of that distillery
because all those are distillery releases.
They don't go anywhere else. I know, like some of them.
Their single barrels are distillery only releases. So unless you're in the Louisville area, you're not going to get one unless you know somebody that's down there that can get you one.
So that checks off a couple boxes, right? Distillery only releases, small distilleries. This more craft style things.
And I think part of the reason they're small, I mean, that's why they sweet mash everything. because they're not making batch after batch
They're
after
just-
batch. They're
because
just
they're letting the equipment sit.
well, yeah, I think so. I think that they load it up, they ferment it, they wash it out, they clean it out, they let it dry, and they do it again.
Yeah.
So
There's a lot of new small distilleries out there too,
there
like
are.
Log Still
Yep.
out of Kentucky. This Monk's Road stuff, I really like it. Awesome people. Looking forward to getting down there. Chattanooga, I think you've got it over there. They're 111 proof. I think is fantastic. I know their bottled and bond is super.
Cast
super.
strength.
Yeah, they're doing a lot of finishing stuff.
Yeah.
I know I feel like they had an absinthe finish that people
Probably.
really like. That's not my thing. I don't
No,
care
it's
for
not.
it.
Yeah.
And here's another good one. Hidden Gems.
And there are a bunch, in my opinion, a bunch.
Evan Williams Bottled and Bond. I think you got it. It may not even be down
It
here.
doesn't matter. We've
Doesn't
talked about
matter.
it so much.
Maker's Mark 46 and 46 cast strength, depending on what kind of heat you like.
Yeah.
They're
I don't.
not super easy to find.
But I still think those three, for the money and what you get, that's the best. That's the best you're gonna find, in my opinion.
Oh, David Nicholson. We're
Yeah.
both big fans of it. You're Hard Truth Sweet Mash Rye. If you're in an area that distributes it,
It's good.
It's
I couldn't believe it. I couldn't believe it.
I was at they got all these different locations with restaurants
Yeah.
and stuff. I was at one of them downtown Indianapolis yesterday. Stopped by and grabbed a beer, and they had Hard Truth Sweet Mash Rye and their bourbon cream on sale for $69 for the bundle. Pretty good deal.
Yeah.
This stuff not super easy to find, but if you hunt around, you'll find it.
And it usually comes in waves.
Yeah.
So if you're in a location that gets, if you find 1 or 2 or 3, 5 bottles somewhere, they're going to be everywhere in that location.
That's a Jack Daniel's single barrel proof. I like it much, much, much better than just the single barrel.
Yeah. It's not even comparable.
No, this stuff is amazing, and
that has got that good Old Forester, Brown-Forman heat to it. Woodford, Old Forester, Jack Daniel's, good stuff.
Feel it down to your toes.
You can. Makes it good.
This happens to be a distillery only single barrel selection, so hitting a couple boxes there.
Yeah.
But at least in Indiana, you hunt around for this long enough,
You'll find it.
You'll find it, and it's pretty reasonable.
It's very reasonable compared to any other barrel strength whiskey. It's very reasonable.
One of my favorites, Knob Creek. Knob Creek's great. Yeah. Go to the distilleries if you live close by.
And that's Jim Beam Distillery in Claremont.
Yeah.
If so anybody's curious. All that is Jim Beam that's been aged in a different part of the warehouse for a little longer, but its mash bill's the same.
Yeah, fun stuff. So we got a lot more to get through. You want to make this a two-parter?
You can.
So, hey guys, drinking bourbon is supposed to be fun. Stick with us next time for part 2 of Sip It, Don't Flip It.
Thanks, guys.
If you drink, don't drive to the watermelon crawl.